Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, Friday, February 14th, 2020. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brains. For many of us here in the Northern Hemisphere, winter continues on and on and on. It's only February, so this is normal. Nevertheless, here in Illinois at least, where it's been unusually cloudy and has drizzled half a centimeter of snow a day for day after day after day, this winter has been particularly trying. And I'm fairly convinced that some of the drifts of snow in the constantly shadowed parts of my yard may never melt. I don't know if the researchers involved in today's first story were inspired by this kind of weather, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. In new research coming from the Planetary Science Institute's own Norbert Schorghofer, it's been noted that ice builds up in the winter shadows behind boulders, and this ice can be transformed into liquid water when spring finally comes. Just like here on Earth, Mars has seasons that cause the sun to stay low in the sky during short winter days. As winter turns to spring, the sun's position in the sky will move up, allowing areas that had stayed in shadow for months to suddenly experience sunlight. According to the press release, the continually shadowed area behind a boulder is very cold, so cold that water ice accumulates in winter. When the sun rises again in spring, the ice suddenly heats up. In detailed model calculations, the temperature rises from minus 128 degrees Celsius in the morning to minus 10 degrees Celsius at noon. This huge change in temperature over just a quarter of a day, well, that ice that had been behind the boulder is going to be extremely salty because that's how Mars is. And along with that water ice, there's going to be carbon dioxide ice. And this ice is going to melt. The carbon dioxide ice goes straight into the atmosphere, but that salt water can actually melt at minus 10 degrees into liquid water. For a very brief period, the sudden sway in temperatures can lead to salt water, liquid salt water, on the surface of Mars. And I'm assuming a few moments later, there's going to be salty mud. This is just a nice paper that transforms a lot of really complicated thermodynamics into easy to understand results that can also carry a bit of poetry. That carbon dioxide ice we mentioned has a very different melting temperature than water. And when it all sublimates into the atmosphere, well, it does that before the water ice all melts, but not a lot before. So here's where the poetry comes in. The loss of carbon dioxide ice is the first sign of spring on Mars. And just like the first flowering of crocus is the first sign of spring in my yard, they look for that day when all the carbon dioxide ice is gone. Showing once again that planetary scientists are way better at naming things than astronomers, the first CO2-free day on Mars is called the Crocus date. Since the saltwater ice melts on or shortly after the Crocus date, it's being called Crocus Melting. This poetic term resulted in this work being published in the Astrophysical Journal in a paper named Mars, Quantitative Evaluation of Crocus Melting Behind Boulders. I would like to make it clear no actual crocus flowers were harmed in this research, and they don't melt, people. They do not melt. In other icy news, the New Horizons team has a series of new papers in yesterday afternoon's issue of Science that came out after we had recorded this show. These papers look at 2014 MU69, now named Arocad. Due to breaking news that I'll get to in just a moment, we're going to hold off on doing a complete review of this research until Monday. But we do want to point out that CosmoQuest played a small role in this work, and I'm co-author on one of those papers, a very small co-author on one of those papers. Back in 2011 and 2012, the search for the future target for New Horizons was taking advantage of ground-based telescopes and using citizen scientists, maybe even some of you, to look for Kuiper Belt objects. Turns out we didn't find anything that had an orbit that meant that the New Horizons mission could go visit it, but since I wrote that software, I got to become a minor member of the New Horizons team, as did you, and this research is the result. But really, I'm going to go into more detail on this on Monday, and the next story is going to take precedence over our own research. Our final big story of today. And there were no pictures of boulders with melting ice. Our final story of today is about new images of Betelgeuse that show the star is changing shapes. Betelgeuse is one of very few stars that are just the right combination of close enough and big enough that we can actually observe them with the world's biggest telescopes. In January 2019, before we knew Betelgeuse was about to go fantastically dim, Miguel Montanegas acquired an image of Betelgeuse with the Very Large Telescope's SPHERE instrument. This allows for before and after images to be compared. And after images were taken in December, well, now we see that Betelgeuse is changing shapes. It is changing shapes, people. These images are being released prior to a paper going all the way through peer review. So we don't have a lot of science to talk about. In the European Southern Observatory press release, Montarguez says the two scenarios we are working on are, for explaining Betelgeuse, are a cooling of the surface due to exceptional stellar activity or dust ejection toward us. To understand the dust possibility, they also took an image with an occulting disk blocking the brightest light from the disk of Betelgeuse as well as the surrounding areas of bright light around the star. This image allows us to see the cloudy glow of expelled dust. All of this material is surrounding Betelgeuse. What we're seeing is a dying star shred its atmosphere as it gears up to explode. At this point, Betelgeuse is 36% of its normal brightness. We don't know why exactly. And what we do know, though, is this star is actively dying. While we know Betelgeuse is totally going to go boom eventually, we don't know when that eventually is actually going to get observed. It could be tonight, it could be 100,000 years or more from now, but this is the first time we've gotten to watch a star die in detail. Frustratingly, Betelgeuse isn't visible all year. It can be easily seen still in the evenings, but with the coming of Northern Hemisphere spring and Southern Hemisphere winter, Betelgeuse will disappear during the night. If it goes boom, yes, we'll be able to see the supernova during the day, but I want to be able to follow all the details, people. So who knows if it will still be there as a star next, well, for me, winter. So get outside and look at Betelgeuse while we still can. And it may be 100,000 years that we still can, but we need something to look forward to. So if Betelgeuse goes supernova while it's in the daytime sky, I'm going to cry. But tonight, I'm going to go outside because it's looking shockingly clear. And I, for one, am going to try and get some pictures with my camera and maybe even take out a telescope. So here is to getting final images of Betelgeuse while it is still observing season. Okay, so that was the final story, but we do have one additional thing that I want to make a note about. I'm hoping that this story will go away by Monday. We also received breaking news that last night the OLA, or the laser altimeter on the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft, didn't work as planned during a recent dress rehearsal of a sampling approach to the Osprey sample site on Bennu. The biggest impact this actually had on anything is the images are going to be out of focus because OLA's distance measurements are used to tell the camera where to focus. While that is super annoying, let's face it, Bennu is rocks all the way down, and all the camera is going to do is show us more rocks. The science that OLA was designed to accomplish is complete. While the team hopes to get the instrument fully functional again, OSIRIS-REx's mission can still go on as planned. We'll keep you posted as we learn more. And wow, that was a lot of breaking news today. So much breaking news. But for now, that's all I've got. So I'm now going to hang out and answer your questions. And while you type those in, I'm just going to remind you once again, The Daily Space is a production of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We are here because of you. Your bits, your subs, your patronage at patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. That's what keeps us going. It takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to write our script every day. Susie needs to put time into doing all of the production. And the Rocket Wednesdays that Annie does take even longer. You are allowing us to do this. So please, if you haven't given, consider a sub, consider patronage over on patreon.com, which really is the best way you can support us because it lets us get you more in return. Okay, I'm done begging for money. I hate begging for money. I need to. I looked at budgets yesterday. All right. So yeah, we're a production of the Planetary Science Institute. This episode was written by me, and Susie is our producer. And yeah. Back to those questions. I'm going to scroll up to the top and see what there is to see. And while I do that, I'm just going to leave these 2 comparative images up there. Floofs are totally good radiators, Paranor. However, this morning, Stella, who's the smallest and least floofiest of our floofs, she and I were fighting it out over that radiator. Limperimble, it's true. Our house isn't very old in either astronomical terms or compared to Europe. I tell Europeans I live in a historic house that was built in 1893, and they just laugh at me. But our heat is still inefficient. Mike Casti points out, never go to sleep without checking the water in your boiler. Yeah, normally it's not a problem. Deep breath. Yes. And thank you, Walker, for the sub before we got started. Thank you. I have no dog cam, or I'd throw things to the dogs. I'm sorry about the rocket video. I'm sorry. I need to figure out audio on this computer better. Bad Panda puts, pro tip, February is the best time of year to visit San Diego. Not too many crowds, no marine layer like in spring and early summer. That is a really cool thing to think about. And San Diego has the best zoos in the entire world. If you like looking at happy, healthy, rare animals that are kept in habitats that keep them interested, intellectually engaged, and breeding, San Diego is the place to go. How warm is Valles Marineris today? I don't know. I know quite often it is warmer on Mars in the equatorial regions than it is in the winter in Boston. Limperimple points out, wow, the frost heaves on the roads must be terrible. Probably not as bad as here because they don't have as much water. We're talking more like thimblefuls of water versus the big puddles I get here. Um, oh, wow. Limrimble has the first crocuses already a couple of days ago. I actually need to go out to the front of our driveway and see if my snowballs have budded yet. They often start to flower about now. Last I checked, the crocuses weren't yet. Um, So Mars croaked. Yes, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that. And Mike Cassidy, that was the best research paper title I have seen in a long time. Um, DPI suggests Shattering Crocuses, band name. Cool. Very cool. Um, Binary Blaze is like Betelgeuse is a troll. Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I want a supernova in my lifetime too, Jones. A nice local one, but not too local. Not too local. Um, all right. Did I have a green screen? Oops, Paranor. Let me know if I need to fix something. I took my sweater off, which is making me sad because my green screen was trying to eat my sweater. Um, Wayne Johnson loves rocks. We love you too, Wayne Johnson. We need you to love rocks for us. Um, all right. That may be all the questions today. Oh, there we go. Veronica Cure asks, is this the first time a star in a recognized constellation has changed or exploded? It may be because I think, and I need to put my sweater on, so you're going to see weird green screening. Um, I think that the past naked eye supernova, so like Kepler's supernova, um, the one that the Chinese saw in 1054, I think the progenitor stars were too faint to have been seen prior to telescopes. Betelgeuse has dimmed before Open Cage, but this is the dimmest it's ever gotten. So Trillian asks, is there a simple way to explain how we know Betelgeuse is dimming as opposed to a cloud of gas dust passing between the Earth and it? Yes, we can look at the spectra and see what molecules are in the spectra and what velocity they're moving at. We're still working on getting all that data, though, so stay tuned. Folks are trying to figure this out. Raj Luthra asks, if Betelgeuse does go supernova soon and during nighttime, will it be safe to look at it with our own eyes? Yeah, it's not going to be brighter than looking at the moon through a telescope. It's going to be like the same overly bright brightness as looking at a moon through a telescope. Jim Doctor points out the village that they grew up in had a Saxon church over 1,000 years. Yeah, there was one time I was talking with one of the hosts of Naked Science, and he was like, "Yeah, our house is over 1,000 years old." It's just like, okay, I can't complain about my house anymore. Yeah, Wayne Johnson. I wish we had a water level alarm for the boiler. We do not. We do not. Blade Runner's like, I love observing other primates at the zoo. I got an amazing orangutan photo a few years ago that I should share at some point. Oh, top left corner. Oh, I see it. There. It is fixed. Some things are easy. Sorry for the sniffles into the mic, folks. Would Ada Karina count? Thank you for these subs, Stumpy. Ahoy. Oh, I have doggos. I have doggos. Yes, okay. I'm going to make it rain. No one can see you, but I'm going to make it rain. The look of desperation and lick snapping. Snap. They're licking their lips. Go over there. Go over there. Go on. Go over there. I'm going to make it rain over there. Go. Okay. I'm working to train them to go over there. Thank you. Trillium, I'm not going to use Stella to alarm on the radiator. I mostly use her as a heating pad in bed. She's an excellent radiator. So Bad Panda was asking, would Adacrina count? I remember that it brightened at one point. It had a false supernova event in, I can't remember if it was the 1700 or the 1800s at this point. And got magnificently brighter, but it wasn't a full-fledged supernova. So we haven't seen a like full-fledged kablooey, no object or only a degenerate object left behind. We need one of those. So Ruff's Math, there have been a bunch of naked eye supernovae, but I don't think any of them have come from stars that we had like been able to see the progenitor star naked eye. So like the one in S Andromedae, I don't there. Yeah, it was, we didn't see it star naked eye. All winter, all the archives are going to show Binary Blaze wearing a black hoodie. That is fair. That is fair. I was wearing a black hoodie earlier. I should have kept it on. This is just a little bit warmer. Thank you, Stumpy Ahoy, again. I just hit that in the chat. Everyone had been trying to clean the green screening artifact off their images. No, that was just me failing to green screen. All right. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to go get some lunch and I'm going to go prep for Astronomy Cast, which will be simulcast right here on twitch.tv in about an hour and 20 minutes if we have our act together. So today's episode, we are talking about the surface of the sun. We'll be highlighting new images that are coming to us from the, no, wait, there's a rocket launch. Crap, we're doing a rocket launch instead. Okay, Annie, when are we going live with the rocket launch? Is this the Starlink one? I thought that was Saturday for some reason. Annie, tell us more about the rocket launch because I'm having a Monday on Friday. So there will be a rocket launch right here. Starlink is on Sunday. There will be a rocket launch of the NG-13 Cygnus rocket. Antari. Read the chat. There will be rocket launch. And we will bring that, live. Thank you, Ruff's Matt. Ooh, Malachi learned to run over. Stella learned to run over. Eddie has not yet. Go over there. Go over there, Eddie. Make it rain. Make it rain. Okay, all the dogs are eating. Once I get dog cam better, Stella will try and steal your soul. So come back. We will have rocket launches here on Twitch TV. But for now, we're going to find someone to raid. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm totally up for suggestions. Oh, and Binary Blaze can do picture-in-picture showing Astronomy Cast when it's boring parts of the launch. So it looks like Oh Bother is currently live. So I'm going to raid Oh Bother, but folks, please come back later. Please come back later. So Monday, we will go in detail into all the awesome sauce that is coming out of the the MU69 science results, and life will be good. But for now, wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, afternoon. Go look at Betelgeuse while it's still in the evening sky, and I'll see you on the other side.